Only 3 months into the new decade, and the gaming landscape has been changed forever as E3 is now officially being cancelled due to coronavirus concerns. Hey everyone, this is Logan589XP here, and we're going to be talking about E3, the response from all the gaming companies, the future of E3, and just kind of how unique and odd this situation is. And potentially maybe even how things might be going forward, and I don't think it's going to be positive, but we'll just have to wait and see. So, if you have not heard, yes, E3 has been officially canceled by the ESA, which is the company that runs E3. It is 100% official. This is not a rumor, this is not speculation, this is not clickbait. This has been 100% confirmed. If you don't believe me, you can go on the official website. They have a whole statement about it. Various gaming companies that, of course, were going to be at the event, like Microsoft, Ubisoft, etc., have made official statements on their plans going forward, since, of course, where are they going to announce their stuff? So, before we get into how the various gaming companies are going to be affected, I want to just kind of talk about how significant this really is. E3, in its 25, 26-year history, I believe it's 26, regardless, 25, 26, in its entire history, has never once been delayed or canceled. Not once. Every single year since 1995, they've had an event. And it has been, up until now, I know people debate, but it's still, in the eyes of many people, including me, the event of the year when it comes to gaming. It's Gamer Christmas, at least on paper, that's what it is. Obviously, not every announcement's going to be a slam dunk, but generally speaking, it's Gamer Christmas. This is where most of the big announcements are made. More and more announcements have been making their way onto the internet in the form of tweets or live streams and whatnot, but generally speaking, most of the really big stuff is still at E3. And even though there have been changes to E3 in the last couple of years, like the advent of public passes, which for the consumer standpoint sounds awesome, but apparently from the traditional gaming press, they really aren't a fan of that. Among other things, of course, as more and more companies have pulled out of E3 over the years, like for example, EA no longer does an official E3 event. They have their own thing called EA Play, which is basically their E3 press conference, but it's their own independent thing, but it takes place at the same time as E3, so everyone just considers it their E3 event, even though it's not actually E3, but, whatever. And of course, most famously, Sony was not there last year. And I'm not talking about them just not doing a press conference. They were not there at all, at least from what I remember. This isn't like with Nintendo where, Nintendo stopped doing press conferences a while ago, but they're still there. They still have the booth, they still have the demo setups, they still have like the layout, like how they had the Breath of the Wild thing in 2016, the Odyssey thing in 2017. Like they're still there. They are still very much at E3. But Sony was not there at all. There was no booths, there was no anything. They didn't do a state of play, nothing. There was nothing last year as far as I remember from Sony. I honestly wasn't as concerned about it back then because I figured, they're probably just not doing a press conference because they don't have anything to really announce. Because 2019, basically all of their major games for the PS4 are already announced. Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding. These are all games that we have known about for a while, and they are the last games. These are the last PS4 exclusives. They don't have anything else to announce. It's the exact same thing as Nintendo in 2016, where they didn't do a direct. They just did like the Zelda stream because that was their only Wii U game left that really meant anything, at least. They still had Treehouse, so they showed off Sun and Moon and Color Splash and whatnot, but their main thing was Zelda because it was the only big game they had left for the Wii U, and they weren't ready to show off the Switch, or at the time NX. So yeah, Sony was not there in any form as far as I remember. If I'm wrong, you can correct me in the comments, but as far as I remember, unlike Nintendo, Sony was not E3 at all. Period. They were not there at all. And they announced earlier this year that they would not be returning for 2020. Now that got me concerned because I'm like, okay, 2019, sure. They're not ready to show off the PS5. They've announced all of their PS4 remaining exclusives. Basically, it's the same thing as Nintendo was in 2016. Okay, sure, fine. But the fact that they were skipping it again, that was very interesting. Because, of course, now, both Microsoft and Sony, they're gearing up for the release of their new systems. So you'd think that Sony would have a press conference again, because they're going to want to talk about the PS5 all day long. But no, and I'm not saying that they were going to reveal it there, because the days of consoles being revealed at E3 is long over. The PS4 and Xbox One were both revealed in their own separate event before E3. The Switch was revealed before E3. Like, the days of consoles being announced at E3 is dead. So, okay, no, maybe like console variants. Like, we got the Xbox One S at E3 2016. We also got the announcement of the Xbox One X when it was still called Project Scorpio at E3. We also got the formal announcement of the Xbox One X at E3 as well. So, like, variations, we've gotten announcements at E3, but we haven't gotten, like, full reveals at E3 since the last generation. The last time a console was revealed, like, properly revealed at E3 was the Wii U in 2011. If you want to be technical, you could count the Project Scarlet, because they did announce Project Scarlet last year at E3, but we didn't know anything about it until the Game Awards, when they officially revealed that. The Game Awards was the Series X's quote-unquote reveal. And then the PS5, we have the logo and stuff, but the proper, full, like, we're going to actually see stuff on it event, that's going to be happening before E3, I guarantee it. I could be wrong, but the rumor has been that Sony and Microsoft will be holding their own PS5 and Series X event before E3, but Microsoft has already stated they're going to be showing the Series X stuff at E3 as well. But Sony's not going to be there at all, so we don't know what Sony's plan is. Maybe they'll do their own PlayStation press conference that's independent, like how EA has been doing for the last couple years. Maybe they'll just do a State of Play E3 quote-unquote presentation. I don't know. We do not know, but anyway, so let's get on to the affected companies and what the responses are. So I'm going to bring up an article here. Of course, you're not going to be able to see it. I'm just going to have some gameplay in the background. But we're going to do this. This is an article from CNET, in case anyone's wondering. I might link it in the description. I don't really know. So we're going to go over the response from every company so far. So let's start off with probably the most notable one. Well, the most notable one because of what's going on with them. Microsoft. Microsoft has already announced that they are going to be doing a special digital event in lieu of doing their E3 press conference, since it's not happening anymore. And they will be talking about new titles, of course, and more importantly, the new info on the Series X, quote, in the coming weeks. That's what Phil Spencer said, at least, on Twitter. So, digital event, huh? That sounds familiar. It sounds very familiar. Sounds like something that a certain other company has been doing for quite a while. I wonder who that is. Anyway, so basically, Microsoft is going to be doing, as far as we can tell, it's basically going to be doing a direct. And the thing is, Microsoft has been doing a quote direct for a little while now. Well, kind of anyway. Inside Xbox, I believe, premiered on March 10th, 2018. It was like right after Smash Ultimate was revealed for the first time. Not like the Everyone Is Here reveal, but, you know, the Inkling Eye reveal. The original reveal, when we all died. I could make a whole video about that whole thing, because I got a lot to say on that reveal and how much it means to me and what I felt when it happened, but that's a different video for another time. So, we do not know exactly when Microsoft is going to be doing their event, but they are going to be doing a digital event sometime in the coming weeks. No, sorry. Details on timing and more will be in the coming weeks. So the actual event, I assume, will take place in E3's time slots, you know, like in mid-June. But we don't know when it's going to be happening yet. So effectively, it sounds like they're going to be doing basically an Xbox Direct or something like that, which honestly, that's okay with me. It's not the same as a press conference, but hey, it's what has to be done. Next up is Nintendo. Now this is the one, of course, I'm the most curious about because, of course, Nintendo's the one I care about the most, obviously. But still, they have probably said the least amount of all the companies, and that's not that surprising because we're not quite at that time spot where Nintendo talks about E3. We're nearing it. I believe last year they announced the Smash Invitational in like the end of March. In like 2018, so, and they announced like, and like April is when they start being all like, okay, here's our like kind of scheduling, here's our direct, here's our other events, here's when Treehouse is happening. Like normally April, May is when they talk about that. We're still in March, so it's a little early for them to be talking about E3 directly. But here's exactly what they said in quotes. We'll continue to be flexible and redirect our efforts to other ways of keeping our fans up to date about our activities and products. We are considering various ways to engage with our fans, and we will have more to share as the year continues. Translation, basically not much. My assumption is that they're just going to do a direct in the same time spot they normally will. It won't be called E3 2020 Direct or whatever, like the last ones have, but they're going to do a presentation during the same time. It'll be another direct. They'll probably just call it like Nintendo Direct 6.11.20 or whatever the heck. So that's my guess is for like from out. So I don't know if they're going to be doing Treehouse because of course Treehouse is at E3. That's a physical at E3 event. And that'd be kind of a shame to not have Treehouse because it's been a staple for a long time now. Then Treehouse may not happen, but the actual E3 Direct will probably still happen. It just won't be called E3. EA, as I've already stated, has been having their own event for a while. Here's what they have said. We've continued to follow the coronavirus developments around the world very closely. Clearly, the situation is evolving by the day, and we've been reviewing how it will change our plans for EA Play 2020. We will share more soon. So, EA Play is EA's E3 event, effectively. It's not associated with E3, and it's not considered a part of E3, but from the consumer perspective, it's their E3 event. That's effectively what it is, even if it's not officially their even if it's not officially a part of E3. I believe it takes place. I believe it's actually the first one, like of the E3 cycle. It's always the first one, like June 8th, 9th is when it traditionally takes place, I think. So it's around the same time as E3, and it's still in Los Angeles, around the E3 area-ish. So there's a very good chance that EA Play will also get canceled, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. Ubisoft, they apparently did not really say anything, except that they will probably be doing a stream as well, like their own, like, quote-unquote direct. Ubisoft will be doing their own direct instead, but that's basically all they really said. And that is all the information I can really see. It actually just brings up a question, and that is the question of, do we even really need E3 anymore? Because from a consumer perspective, we do not need E3 anymore. Because the main purpose of E3 from the consumer's perspective, at least, from our perspective, the people at home, is game announcements. And we can, Nintendo has been doing their directs for years and years. More recently, Sony and Microsoft have tried to, unsuccessfully try to do their own directs. I don't think they're horrible, but everyone kind of agrees that they're not as good as Nintendo's direct. And what's funny? You know how Nintendo has the reputation of being stuck in the past? And look, I love Nintendo to death. But there are obviously some things that, that they're kind of frustrating. The whole thing with the online, how there's still no themes, the whole fiasco with YouTube and copyright that they've had for years, taking down fan games, etc., which they have let up on that in more recent years. But still, like, Nintendo has that reputation for being stuck in the past, and as much as I love them, it's not entirely wrong. It's not wrong. It's not wrong. They definitely have some aspects that are like that. No question about it. No question about that. And some of them are really frustrating. But the one thing that Nintendo was actually ahead of literally everyone else in, not just by a year or 2 years, by like 5-something years, was Nintendo Direct. Nintendo Direct, the concept of revealing new game information in a video stream instead of at like a big like event like E3, they did that way before everyone else. Like, you want to know how early they did it? 2011. Yes, 2011, when way before like streaming gaming stuff took off. Way before then. Like, before Twitch became as big as it is now, before gaming on YouTube became as big as it was now, 2011, Nintendo was announcing games in videos, in streams, in 2011. This is when they were still doing press conferences, by the way. This was long before everyone else even thought of announcing stuff online outside of a big event. So, that is something I find extremely interesting. Nintendo, they have definitely got some aspects that are in the past, but the one thing that everyone I think should be able to agree on is they were far ahead when it comes to Nintendo Direct. They did that way before anyone else is. Now Sony and Microsoft are trying to copy it unsuccessfully, at least for right now. Like okay, I want to be fair here. So Inside Xbox is not a direct it's not a direct. It's not a straight Nintendo Direct clone. It's its own unique thing. It has interviews. They talk to developers. It's not just like, here's an announcement. Here's the next announcement. It's not exactly like a Nintendo Direct, but State of Play is literally a Nintendo Direct. The last one, which I believe was like in September or like October or something. I forget when the last State of Play was. I think it was October or September. Whenever the last State of Play was, it literally was the exact same format. It even had like the same transitions, I think. Like, there was literally a carbon copy of Nintendo Direct, but it was blue instead of red. I am not even joking. Which I guess follows in a Sony's pattern of kind of copying Nintendo with like the PlayStation Move and other various things that people still don't forget all these years later, but you know, whatever. You know, Microsoft and Sony, they want to do their own directs. That's fine. There's no problem with that. They may not be as good as Nintendo's, but at least in my opinion. But you know, it is what it is. So the point is, it's kind of so. The main reason why I'm bringing this all up is because what's the point of E3 outside of its reputation as being the main spot? From a consumer perspective, there's not much point in it. We all care about it because that's where the announcements are made. But if Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, Ubisoft, EA, if they all did their own event whenever, and E3 did not exist, then we wouldn't need E3. If that makes any sense. I might have said that wrong. but yeah, so E3, I mean, it's a real shame that it's being canceled. I'm very interested to see how it's all going to pan out, but honestly, this really might be the beginning of the end, especially with all the other stuff I mentioned earlier, like with the data leak and stuff. It's like, now it's like, we're not even having E3 and everyone's just going to be doing streams. So what's going to be the point of E3 now? At least from a game announcement perspective, there's not much point. Yes, we're not going to get the live demos, we're not going to get Treehouse. It's not going to be the same, but the core, the thing that people care about most, which is the game announcements, that's still happening, and that's ultimately what matters most. And of course, it matters that, you know, people are not getting sick and infected with coronavirus. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's a real shame, but we'll survive. The gaming industry will survive. Everything's gonna be fine. We're still gonna get our game announcements. They'll probably just do a bunch of those video presentations like in the same time spot as E3, and everyone's just gonna consider them the E3 event anyway. So, like Nintendo, Microsoft, whatever they were gonna be showing at E3, that's not changing. Like whatever, like if Nintendo was gonna be showing Prime 4 and Breath of the Wild 2 and whatever, a new Paper Mario, like whatever, right? That's not going to be changing. They're still going to be showing the exact same stuff that they were planning on showing. The only thing that's different is that the E3 name is not going to be on the Direct. It's the only difference. But, okay, so what do you guys think? Do you think it's a real shame that E3 is being canceled? What are your thoughts on E3 and if it's going to be continuing forward? And, you know, just anything regarding E3, like what you might want, what you want to be, what do you want to see being announced at the various digital events that people are going to be doing? You know, just kind of anything really regarding E3. And with that being said, this is Logan589XP. And I'll see you guys next time.